Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So we have finally gotten the official patch notes for 5.2, and this includes the job changes, and of particular interest to me was, well, making a video specifically on these job changes. And if I'm being honest, there are actually not that many changes of that large intensity, but let's get right into it. So starting off, we have the warrior Shake It Off is going to have its damage barrier absorption increase from 12 to 15% of maximum HP of the warrior. So that is a 3% increase, and I'm just going to be honest, if the team was going to die from something, I'm pretty sure that 3% wouldn't really make the make or break difference in probably the great majority of cases. So I personally do not think that this is the change that the warrior needed in any capacity, and I'm not trying to be coy when I'm saying this for the record. I'm just giving my own impressions as someone who has tried to play the warrior. This is not what the warrior needed. And now moving on to the next change is Black Mage, and they actually have a significant AoE boost, which is to their Foul ability, which if you know Foul, it's going to be like their capstone AoE explosion ability. And now it's just going to hit the first target for full damage, and then all other targets for 25% less damage. And so it used to be that it would do 10% less for the second, 20% less for the third, 30% less for the fourth, and 40% less for the fifth, and 50% less for all remaining enemies. So this actually works out to be a net buff for the Black Mage. I know that the second and third targets used to hit a little bit higher, but overall when you're in a big pack of mobs, this is going to be a net buff to AoE for sure. Next up we have the Summoner. We know right now that the Summoner is going to get tuned down a little bit, and by little bit, this is definitely very little. So Bio 3 and Miasma 3 have their damage over time ticks reduced by only 5 points. And the Miasma 3 has its initial damage reduced by only 5 points. So if I'm being super honest, Summoner is gonna go nowhere at all, period. Like, they're still gonna be topping the charts, no doubt, with this change. And then getting into the White Mage changes, we have Afflatus Misery, and it acts kind of, you can think about it similar to the Black Mage's Foul as before. It was like a big AoE capstone ability for the White Mage, and now similar to the Black Mage, the potency reduction in AoE used that it would do 900 potency for the first enemy, 10% less for the second, 20% less for the third, 30% less for the fourth, 40% less for the fifth, and 50% less for all remaining enemies. So capping it and making it so that's just 25% across the board is going to make sure that in an AoE situation, this is going to hit a lot more. And then lastly, I left the biggest changes, which are actually for Red Mage, which simply their Flesh ability now has its potency increased from 420 to 440, which is a 20 potency increase. We have Contra 60, which has its potency increased from 380 to 400, and then its potency is no longer reduced after the first enemy, where it used to be that it would just deal 50% less damage to all other enemies other than the first. And no, it didn't have like the staggered scaling, it would be like 50% less to all other enemies. So that's actually a pretty significant boost to AoE potential. And then lastly, we have a change to their trait Enhanced Jolt, which is meaning that Ver Arrow and Ver Thunder, which is in their 1-2 dual cast rotation, from 350 to 370, so that's a 20% boost on each of their dual cast. And so overall, these changes are going to definitely push the Red Mage a little bit higher in their personal DPS category. Reading these changes, I think that I'm going to be making a second video because this didn't, in my opinion, address a lot of my main concerns as a player. But yeah, going forward, I mean, Red Mage is going to be a lot more competitive. I don't see the Warrior changes, the Black Mage changes, or the White Mage changes making any significant difference in whether you'd pick them or not. And then as far as the Summoner goes, the Summoner is still going to reign as one of the undeniable DPS kings. Yeah, I personally a little disappointed that we don't have changes for the Scholar, but I guess, yeah, that'll be another video. I've been kind of holding off, but I think it's time. Anyhow, I am going to be sneaking into bed after exporting this video, and thank you all so much for watching, and I wonder, what are your thoughts on all of these changes? Are you happy with them? Are you not happy with them? Did your class get buffed, nerfed? Yeah, let me just know all of your thoughts. And as always, I'm going to read the comments, and I'm really kind of looking forward to see what other people think. I actually expected for patch 5.2 a lot more radical changes than this, but hey, I mean, more of good is good, I guess. Anyhow, that's all for this video. Take care and have a great one.